Have you ever found yourself, maybe scrolling online or just in a conversation, and a term pops up that seems really straightforward?
Uh-huh.
But then the more you look into it, you realize it's sort of a shapeshifter. It means wildly different things depending on the
Oh,
context.
absolutely. It's like you think you got a handle on it, and then suddenly there's like three other meanings you didn't even know existed.
Exactly. Well, today, that's exactly where we're headed. We're doing a deep dive into the seemingly simple but actually pretty complex world of the Fly app.
Mhm.
Now, on the surface, you might think, okay, one app, maybe something about flight or speed.
Sure, makes sense.
But as we're about to untangle, Fly app can actually point to a few distinct concepts. So our mission today is really to cut through that ambiguity. We're going to focus our magnifying glass on one particular Fly app, the one often linked with browser search in private, and that rather interesting developer name, Muckraker Media.
And that ambiguity you mentioned, that's precisely why a deep dive like this is so critical, isn't it?
Yeah.
In this, well, information overloaded world we live in, getting clarity, distinguishing these contexts, it isn't just about word definitions. It's really vital for understanding what a product is and maybe more importantly, what it means for you, the user.
Right, especially when you get into things like privacy and data.
Exactly. Data collection, digital security. You absolutely have to look beyond the marketing claims. Peer behind the curtain and grasp the full picture.
Couldn't agree more. So for you listening, our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to help you navigate the different Fly apps you might bump into. We'll identify them, sure, but then we're really going to zero in on the one that's probably on your mind, that mobile web browser.
Okay.
We'll unpack its promises, take a close look at the developer, and see what the fine print really reveals when we connect the dots from our sources. Let's jump right in.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first thoughts on Fly app. Your mind probably goes straight to a specific piece of software, something you download, right?
Typically, yes.
But what our research shows is that the term actually casts a much wider net. It's not just one application.
That's absolutely right. The term Fly app isn't exclusive at all. Our sources point to at least three distinct areas where you might hear this phrase. First, and this is probably what sparked your interest in why we're here, is the Fly browser search in private, that mobile web browser.
Developed by Muckraker Media.
Precisely. And that's going to be our main focus today, definitely.
Okay, what else?
Well, beyond that, we found Fly.io apps. Now, this is a completely different kettle of fish.
Fly.io. Okay.
Yeah, it's part of a development platform called Fly.io. It's where developers, coders, build and run their software. Think of it more like infrastructure, building blocks for other apps.
So not something the average person browsing the web would download or even interact with directly.
Exactly. It's aimed squarely at the developer community.
Got it. And the third one?
And then in yet another corner, you've got Fly app in the world of drones.
Ah, okay, that makes sense too.
Right. Many apps used for controlling drones, especially from DJI, have names like Fly app or DJI Fly. These are all about, actual flight control, streaming video from the drone, editing footage.
Real flying.
Real flying, yeah. So you can easily see how just searching for Fly app could send you down some very different paths.
It really does highlight how crucial context is, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Same name, completely different functions.
Wildly different.
Okay, but like we promised, let's zoom back in on that Fly browser search in private from Muckraker Media. It's a mobile browser available on places like the Google Play Store, and it makes some, pretty bold claims about what it does.
It really does. According to its own description, its main selling point seems to be providing a fast and secure browsing experience with a focus on privacy.
Okay, focus on privacy.
Yes, and it explicitly claims to block third-party cookies and aims to give users a secure environment. On the face of it, that sounds exactly like what a lot of people are looking for today, with all the concerns about online privacy.
Absolutely, ticking all the right boxes. Speed, security, and actively blocking those third-party cookies, which we know are a major tool for tracking users across the web.
Seems ideal.
Sounds almost like a dream app, right? But you mentioned sources hinting at a crucial caveat. How can an app claim all that privacy stuff and still have something contradictory hidden away? What's the catch?
Well, that's where it gets quite interesting and a bit complicated. What's really fascinating here is that while the app talks a big game about privacy, its own privacy policy, the one listed right there on its App Store page, It indicates that it may collect and share various data types with third parties.
Okay, wait, collect and share what kinds of data?
And we're not talking about, minor anonymized stuff necessarily. The policy specifically mentions things like location and personal information.
Location and personal info. Whoa.
Yeah. So that immediately throws a pretty big wrench into the works, right? It creates this stark inconsistency between the marketing message and the actual policy details.
So just to be clear, it's like promising Fort Knox security at the front door, but then maybe leaving the back window open.
That's one way to put it.
The core promise of privacy for this Fly browser seems, well, directly undermined by its own terms. That's the big takeaway here.
That seems to be the crucial point, yes.
So what are the practical implications then? For someone who downloads this believing they're getting a truly private experience?
The implications are pretty substantial. It's quite ironic, actually. While it says it blocks third-party cookies which track you across different websites, its own policy suggests it might collect and share your location and personal info with third parties. So even if it stops one kind of tracking, it could potentially be doing another kind, maybe even more direct.
So despite the privacy focus, your, movements, maybe parts of your identity could still be shared.
That's what the policy seems to allow for, yes. It could be sharing the very things it claims to protect, just using different methods.
Wow, okay. And it wasn't just the data collection potential, was it? What else did the sources flag? Oh, right, contains in-app ads.
Yes, that too.
Now, okay, for a free app, ads aren't exactly shocking, but how does that fit with these strong privacy promises? Does that add another layer to this whole privacy puzzle?
It certainly adds another layer to consider. While just stating contains in-app ads is a standard disclosure for how the app makes money.
Right.
The reality is that ads, especially mobile ads, often rely on some user data to work effectively for targeting and things like that.
Sure, targeted ads need data.
Exactly. Now, our sources don't explicitly link the ads themselves to the specific data sharing mentioned in the policy, but it's a very common industry practice for ad networks to collect user data.
So it's another potential avenue.
It means the app has ways to generate revenue, and those ways can be intertwined with data practices. It just further complicates that whole privacy focus claim.
Yeah, it really makes you question what privacy focus actually means in practice, not just in marketing speak.
Absolutely. You have to scrutinize it.
And speaking of things that maybe need scrutinizing, let's talk about the developer. That name, Muckraker Media. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is rather striking.
It conjures up quite an image. That word muckraker, it has such a specific historical weight. How significant do you think that name is, especially for an app with this apparent gap between its privacy claims and its policy?
This is where the history becomes really compelling, I think. The term muckraker, as you said, it's historically tied to those, well, courageous investigative journalists.
Right, people exposing corruption.
Exactly. Dedicated to exposing corruption, injustice, hidden truths, shining a light in dark corners. You think of figures like Ida Tarbell taking on Standard Oil or Upton Sinclair in the meatpacking industry expose.
Powerful stuff.
The name itself just implies this deep commitment to transparency, to holding power accountable.
So when a company with that name puts out an app that loudly promotes user privacy, yet its own policy allows for potentially significant data collection and sharing, well, it creates this really interesting, almost ironic tension, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like a company called Honest Abe's Used Cars having lots of complaints about odometer tampering.
Yeah, something like that. It definitely raises a question. Is the name Muckraker Media meant to give users a sense of trust and transparency that maybe isn't fully backed up by the app's actual data practices?
And our sources do clarify something important here. They suggest Muckraker Media seems to be the name of a company that develops a variety of mobile apps, including the Fly browser, rather than being, an actual investigative journalism outfit.
Ah, okay. So it's a developer name, not a news organization.
Correct. So while the name carries this powerful historical echo, it seems the company behind the app might just be leveraging that weight, perhaps in a way that doesn't perfectly align with the original values of muckraking.
It's a brand choice, essentially.
A brand choice that, as you said, almost invites a closer look because of the name itself.
Precisely. And this really highlights a crucial lesson for all of us, I think.
Which is?
The importance of not just taking things at face value based on branding or a name.
Definitely.
A name can be a really powerful marketing tool, right? Designed to make you feel a certain way, create associations.
For sure.
But It's really the nitty-gritty details, the privacy policy, the terms of service, how the app actually behaves that tell you the real story about its practices. Always pays to read the fine print.
Absolutely critical.
Mhm.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's
Yeah.
just quickly synthesize this journey through the varied world of the Fly app.
Ah.
We've clearly seen the term isn't monolithic, right? It can mean different things.
Mm.
We learned about Fly.io apps,
Mm-hmm.
those technical tools for developers on the Fly.io platform. Totally different universe.
Right.
Then you've got the drone control apps like DJI Fly for piloting actual aircraft. Again, separate.
Yep.
But our main focus, our deep dive, was squarely on the Fly browser search in private, developed by this company called Muckraker Media and all its interesting facets.
And for me, the most compelling piece, the real nugget from this dive, is that stark contrast we kept coming back to with the Fly browser. It's marketed so strongly, fast and secure, focus on privacy, even claims to block third-party cookies. You instinctively want to trust that, you know?
Of course. It sounds great.
But then, the sources clearly show its own privacy policy, indicates that it may collect and share various data types with third parties, including things like location and personal information, and it contains in-app ads. That's a lot for a privacy-conscious user to square.
It is. And
Yeah.
connecting this back, it brings us full circle to that developer name again, Muckraker Media. Remembering what muckraker historically means, exposing truth, fighting corruption, it's really quite something that a company using that name develops an app with this potential gap between its privacy promises and its actual policies on data.
Yeah,
It always feels like the name itself is daring you to scrutinize it, compelling us to dig deeper.
absolutely. It really makes you wonder. So, what does all this mean for you navigating your digital life? Here's maybe a final thought to leave you with. When an app makes these big, bold claims about prioritizing your privacy, but its own policies hint at a very different reality, what does that teach us? How should we interpret the promises developers make?
Hmm.
And maybe more pointedly, how much weight should we really give to a name like Muckraker Media when its actions, or at least its stated policies, seem to kind of contradict the very values that name evokes?
That's a critical question.
It is. Keep asking those kinds of questions as you move through the digital world, because sometimes the most important insights aren't on the surface. They're hidden in the details. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.